So we're making progress towards having a really kind of interactive visualization, but one of the downsides right now is that when we do our display, our display state, we have to have just a state, but that's not really how things often work. Like for instance, if we look at Rio and Sao Paulo, we might want to look at the south of the country, like this area, or we might want to look at the north of the country to see how things are actually looking in different regions, but we're not set up to do that. We need something more flexible than just an individual value, an individual state. We might want a region and a selectable, like a user selectable region. So let's get that started, and by doing so, actually show our third action, or fourth maybe, talk about set membership. So to do this is very, very similar to what we did a moment ago. What we're going to be doing is taking customer state, and we'll create a set from that. Oops, I screwed it up. Customer state, create a set, and we're going to call this proportional brushing. And instead of state as we did earlier, let's talk about area. And we're going to say all for now. Yeah, let's say use all rather. Okay. Say that's great, perfect. So now we have a new sorry, brain fart. We have a new set here, and I'm going to just change this set 3. I'm just going to change it, and I'm going to drag this to color again. And right now everything is in the set, so it's not very interesting. But this we're gonna change this here in a moment. And so now what are we going to do? Let's go back to our dashboard, and let's say dashboard actions, add action, and we want to change set values. And so this is that was too fast. Add action, change set values. So it's very much the same as before. So we're going to call this proportional brushing area. Okay, and we're going to say select, that looks good, and dashboard 1. The source is this thing, that's great. The set is going to be proportional brushing area, and this is helpful. So the only thing is what to do. So basically we're going to allow the user to click on a visualization and select some points that are going to go into this set. And so the only question is what set is getting changed, and what do we do when we select the points, and what do we do when we unselect the points? So what we're going to do here is when we run the action, we're going to add the values to the set. When we clear the selection, we want to remove everything from the set. So we always basically want to go back to what we were to start with here. So let me show you what I mean here. So we're going to say okay and okay. And now if I go to my geoplot here and I just select like these points, what I've done is in the background, the set membership of proportional brushing area has changed. That set drives the coloration here. And by changing the coloration here, I've changed it in the dashboard. And so for instance, I could go up here and I could say, okay, for everything in the north of the country, let's just say all of this stuff, how much does that account for? It's about 37%, 33% for the top categories, and getting smaller and smaller. And I can say, okay, just for the extreme south of the country, what does this account for? Not very much. We're talking like 11% or something. And for the kind of the big portion with the Rio, Minas Gerais, and Sao Paulo, we're talking about 75 to 85%. So notice how much more flexible this is than a single display state. A single display state is exactly what it sounds like. We have to select just one of these things, but that's often not how these sales work. We care about areas, then these areas might be defined by geographic boundaries or logistical hurdles or population centers or whatever, and these may not obey strict state boundaries as easily. So by changing set membership, we've given a much more flexible way for the users to interact with the data at the expense of being a little bit more complicated. But from our perspective, it's just the same thing. Whether we're using a set that's defined by a display category, display state like we choose from a list, or a set that is driven by a selection action, from our perspective, it's the same thing. It's just a set that's driving a coloration type thing. It doesn't really matter one way or the other. The key differentiator between the two approaches is which action is driving the set membership. We can take an action, change a parameter value, and that parameter value defines the set. Or we can change, define an action that changes the set values directly by kind of a more free-form thing. So again, maybe you're getting the impression that there are multiple ways to do the same thing. If that's what you're feeling, you're exactly right. There's a wide range of ways to accomplish the same goal, and we're just kind of giving individual tools here to get that done.